How to make your writing funnier. Did you ever notice how many jokes start with, "Did you ever notice?" And "What's the deal with what's the deal?" There's a lot of funny to be found by simply noticing ordinary, everyday things you don't ordinarily notice every day. So, if you like to add a little more humor in the story or a speech or a screenplay you're writing, here are a few tips and tricks for finding the funny. All great storytelling, including comedy writing, consists of a handful of basic ingredients: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Writers have been asked the question since at least the 1st century BC. Yet none come in answer with a simple yes or no. It demands details, and the more specific the details, the funnier the story. Let's start with the who, the comedian's character. Think about the books, TV shows, and movies that make you laugh. They are usually filled with the funny types or archetypes: the know-it-all, the level leader, the bad boss, the neurotic, the airhead. Incidentally, these are the stock of characters found in comedian style art, or the artist's comedy of late Renaissance Italy. And they have yet got L. The comedian rule for creating comic characters is to find the flow, then play it up. Or you can try playing with opposites. When the smartest guy in the room does the stupidest thing, or doofers out with the brainiac, we tend to laugh because we didn't see that coming. Ancient Greek funny man Aristotle is said to have to say, "The secret to humor is a surprise." This surprise, or incongruity theory of humor, says we laughed at things that seem out of place or run up against our expectations, like a frog dating a pig, or a leader selling insurance, a baby disco dancing, a non-disco dancing, a cat disco dancing. Actually, a pig and non or a cat doing pretty much anything, especially involving disco. One fun way to find incongruities is by drawing connections. Actually, drawing them with a mind map. Start small, pick a word. I choose pickle. Drag it down and kick it as you can to making connections. What are pickles make me think of? Who is pickles? What treasure pickle memories do I have for childhood? Another great way to generate comedic material is to shift from observation to imagination. Try from what is to what if. Like, what if, instead of horse, for example, you just have a pair of coconuts? Okay, let's think of some other memorable moments in history, literature, or film. Then one of the features coconuts. Get wild. Let it go. Even if the idea seems overdone, or too obvious, or just plain dumb, try jotting it down anyway. But the obvious to you may not be to the next person. And the opposite of dumbest idea might just turn out to be the smartest. What about all the dumb stuff that happens in real life? Have you ever noticed how much comedy revolves around the things and irritates, frustrates, and humiliates us? Reed Rogers said, "Everything's funny as long as it happened to somebody else." So if you're having a crummy morning, imagine happening to a character you're writing about, and by afternoon, you may at least get a funny story out of it. Once you got your characters and story, Here's a sweet, quick, and easy comedy writing trick to make the gym. The rule of three, or zig-zag. Try setting the expected patterns zig-zig and influences jag. A robber praises and coconut walk into a bar. The punch-out rule says put your punch at the end of line. A robber praises and coconut walking into disco. That brings up the rule of K. For some reason, words with a K sound catch our ears and are considered comical. Coconut, disco, pickles, crickets. Okay, so we don't always get the laugh. Humor is subjective. Comedy is trial and error. Why is it rewriting? Just keep trying. Find the flaws. Discover the details. Insert the incongruities. Incorporate K rule. And remember the most important rule of writing funny. Have fun. As Charles said, there's nothing in the world so irresistibly contagious as laughter and a good humor. And disco. One more with original speed. Did you ever notice how many jokes start with "Did you ever notice?" Then what's the deal with "What's the deal?" There's lots of funny to find that simply notice the ordinary, everyday things you don't ordinarily notice every day. So if you like to add a lot of humor, that's a story or a speech or a screenplay on your writing, here are a few tips and tricks for finding the funny. All great stories, including comedic writing, consist of a handful of basic ingredients: who, what, when, where, why, and how. Writers have been asking this question since at least the 1st century BC, and not give answer with a simple no. It demands details. And the more specific the details, the funnier the story. Let's start with the who, the comedic character. Think about the books, TV shows, and movies make you laugh. They are usually filled with the funny types or archetypes. I noted that lover loser and bad boys and naughty behavior head. Incidentally, these are the styles of characters found in comedy and adult art, or the artist comedy of the late Renaissance Italy, and have yet to get old. The comedic rule for creating comedic characters is find the flow. They played it up. Or you can try playing with opposites. When the smartest guy in the room does this stupidest things, the dubious out with brainiac, we tend to laugh because we didn't see that coming. Ancestry funny and stolen is said to have to say this secret to humor is a surprise. This surprise or incongruity theory of humor says we laughed at things that seems out of place or line up against our expectations, like a flock dating pig, or a lizard selling insurance, a baby disco dancing, a non-disco dancing, a cat disco dancing. Actually, a baby and none of a cat doing pretty much anything, especially involving desking. One fun way to find ingredients is by drawing connections. Actually, drawing them with a mind map. Start small, pick a word. I choose pickle. Drawing down the quickest as you can to make the connections. What do pickles make me think of? Who is the pickle? What treasure pickle memories do I have from childhood? Another great way to introduce comedic material is to shift from observation to imagination. Try to remember what is to what if. Like, what if instead of a horse, for example, it just have a purple coconuts? Okay, let's think of some other memorable moments in the history, literature, or film. Now, what is the feature coconuts? Get wild, let it go. Even if idea seems overdone or too obvious or just plain dumb, try to sound anyway. But the obvious to you may not be to the next person. And the opposite of dumbest idea might just turn out to be the smartest. What about all dumb stuff happens in the real life? Have you ever noticed how much comedy revolves around the things that irritates, frustrates, and humiliate us? Real life just said, everything's funny as long as it happens to somebody else. So if you have a crummy morning, imagine happening to a character you're writing about, and by afternoon, you may at least get a funny story out of it. Once you got your characters and story, here's a few quick and easy comedy light tricks to make the zing. The rule of three, or zig zig zag. Trying setting unexpected patterns is zig, deflect is jagged. Around a pretty decent coconut walking into a bar. The punchline rule says your punch at the end of the line. About a pretty coconut walk into a disco. That brings up the rule of K. For some reasons, words with the K sounds catch our ears and considers comical. Coconut, disco, pickles, crickets. Okay, so we don't always get the laugh. Humor is subjective, comedy is trial or error, writing is rewriting. Just keep trying. Find the flaws, discover the details, insert the ingredients, incorporate keywords, and remember the most important rule of writing funny. Have fun. As Charles Conti said, there is nothing in the world so irresistible contagious as laughter and good humor. And disco.